Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DJ Sessions Presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host, Darren, and right now I'm in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in all the way from Ibiza, we have Nima Gorgi. Nima, how's it going today?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm
Very
doing
good,
good.
thank you.
I shouldn't say today because you should be
Nice.
about 9 hours ahead of us, correct?
I think so. Yeah, no, you're in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. So what
Yeah.
time is it right
So
there? What time is it there right now?
uh, right now is 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Is in
Okay, it's
the
not
yeah.
too bad.
Well, still sun is shining and island is busy. So yeah, it's
And,
summer.
and Yeah, and
Yeah.
you've been there for about 20 years, you said, right?
Well, almost 18. I don't remember now. 18 to 20 years. Yeah.
Wow. And I mean,
Yeah.
I've legendary is the term that I comes to mind when I hear
Mm,
Ibiza and what it means to play there or be there, and how just
yeah.
amazing it is that it kind of sets the standard for nightclubs around the world.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it is like you say, it's a kind of a legend, Ibiza. In a term of clubbing and music standards and DJs, and so many DJs are visiting here every year. Since years. I mean, we are talking about more than 40 years. So yeah,
Yeah. One of the things
nice.
that I'm excited to do is we'll be going to ADE later this year. And we're looking at partnering with a couple people. And if the partnership works out,
Yeah.
one of the things they do is they go to IMS every year.
Yes.
And if my fingers are crossed, I'm firing off a couple emails today to make sure everything's getting dialed in because it is getting close to that ADE event. Are you going
Yes.
to ADE this year by
It's,
any
it's,
chance?
it's in October. I mean, I
Yep.
used to go sometimes, when I'm booked for some shows and some label shows and stuff like that. I haven't heard anything this year yet, so let's see. I'm not so convinced yet. But I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I know AD pretty well since years. I mean, we're, on and off going there or not, so
Mhm. But
yeah.
I think like going to IMS too, I think would just be a huge.
Yeah, IMS is something started here, like, I don't remember, it was 10 years ago, started this. And it seems to be working very well for them, actually, which is it took some years to establish this, and now it's working very well. Actually, it's pretty well visited, and so yeah, we have also a kind of a conference thing going on here in Visa,
Yeah.
which is nice. Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard through the grapevine that Tulum in Mexico is
Yeah.
being described as kind of the new Ibiza. Can you attest to that? And have you been to Tulum or
Yeah. Well, yes, I
on
was.
that?
I was actually it was like in May. I was there in some point in May, 5th of May or something. Yeah, I had a show there in for SOS guys, which they're from Nomad. I don't know if you know the DJ, and very beautiful place, very amazing location, and great crowd. And but yeah, I know what you mean. It's they want this to be the new Ibiza, but I'm not sure they're gonna have it all the way because I mean, with all my best wishes for them, of course. But the thing is, they took off suddenly in the period of COVID,
Mhm.
and this period of COVID, Ibiza was absolutely shut down. Like there was no way you could do anything. You couldn't even breathe. So in this time, in this time, they were lucky to have the whole. I mean, they were the only place open actually in the whole world.
Yeah.
I mean, so everybody was just flocked there, and just went there and had their best time you know, of the COVID time.
Mhm.
So, and I was there in May, and I just saw the things. Like I heard so much about it, and it's like, oh yeah, you have to go there, you have to go there. So okay, now I'm going there. Now I'm there, and they were like telling me, yeah, it's because now is no more COVID anywhere. So now Ibiza is opening, and Ibiza was actually opening this year very early.
Mhm.
We usually open around June, beginning of June, and this year we opened 1 month before, so it was beginning of May. And I could feel everywhere I was going in South America, everybody was talking about Ibiza, Ibiza, Ibiza. It's like, so it was like, that's it, like, okay, now we are open. I'm here. I see the effect of Ibiza, how it works. You know what I mean?
And one of the things that you have coming up here, and you do this, I think, quite frequently, though, is you have an
Mm,
event that you put on at
yeah.
Ibiza Underground. Your next
Yes.
one coming up is actually on my birthday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make that show, but
Oh, that's
August
nice.
23rd is my birthday. Can you tell us
Okay,
about
great.
Join and what
Yeah.
Join is all about?
Well, I started it actually last year. It was still in the lockdown, not lockdown, but we had this kind of there is no clubs open for the COVID and all this. There was a time of just the only thing we could do actually to go to restaurants, in the summer. So we had and we could not stand up and dance. It was forbidden. Everything was like you had to just go to a restaurant, book your table, and then had the DJs in the pretty much many restaurants and playing for the people who are sitting down slowly. Of course, after some lunch, and they were standing up and or grooving in their chair and just dancing. But it was just what we could do. I mean, we couldn't do more than that. We During this time we did a lot of restaurant gigs basically and I came up with this. I mean, let's join us here, join us there, join me in this restaurant, and this is how it started basically in a
Oh,
way. So I put this. Okay, I just like continued this year, but with a proper clubbing. So and
nice.
so putting up a lineup and putting up in Ibiza Underground, which is the most legendary club of the island. As for let's say for mostly local people, and the kind of people in the know who knows actually Ibiza Underground. It's not a tourist place that much. So, but it's working very well.
Well, one of the things that we did is this was what we did in 2020. We do what's called silent concerts or silent disco, if you're familiar with
Yeah.
the technology. And
Yes.
we kind of wrote the playbook on, they everything was shut down, but the
Mm,
parks were open and you
mm.
could come to a park in the beginning and you could be two people at a park.
Okay.
So I would show up with myself, I'd show up with my DJs, and each one of my DJs would come in every 2 hours and
Hmm.
we'd set up a 6 foot rope in the park. We'd put a 6 foot circle around us in the park,
Yeah.
and I would take the headsets, and you could come get headsets from us, and they go 1,000 feet away. So you could get
Uh-huh.
our headsets and then be out in the parks and social distance, but still have a
Okay.
collective dance music experience out in the
Yeah.
park. And when I presented it to everyone, they were like, "This is a great idea because it's still letting people have a shared collective music experience." But one of the things that happens if you go out to a park or you throw a beach party and the music's all boom, 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 it
Hmm.
disrupts everyone else's experience at
Of
the
course.
at the park, and they want to be there and be quiet and lay by the
Yeah.
lake or the water and be in the
Yeah.
sun.
Yeah.
But with our headsets, they didn't get disturbed, and it was really kind of. I'd slide the headsets across a 6 foot table, like
Mm.
a croupier and a crap table. I'd like shh, and slide them across the table, and they'd open them up, and then they'd come back, and we'd sanitize them, and it was a really great thing that we kind of kept us going
Yeah.
through
Yeah. Yeah.
everything. Where other people,
Yeah, because we had to be creative suddenly,
yeah,
and you know, not that I was losing my hope for forever, but I mean, every one of us, we were just like, okay, let's just keep it positive and keep it going somehow, whatever we can do. You know what I mean? So you came up with that. We came up with the restaurants. Like all kind of different ways of still dance. I mean, still enjoying the music. I
I'm
mean,
going to take a question here
yeah,
from
yeah.
V Curley right now. Bring this in. What
Mhm.
was the most crazy thing that's happened to you this summer so far? Now that
Oh,
things are kind of
wow.
opening back up.
Yeah. Crazy thing. I mean, this still didn't happen so many crazy things yet because it's a really strange summer, though. It's like we really hoped it's going to be the most crazy summer, but it happened to be a very different summer than any unusual one. But I mean, we had some good times. Maybe the craziest one would be actually my last party I did in Underground because I was not expecting to be such a big success, and it became actually a very great night. And it took me I just like a surprise. So it's like I was really happy about it. and we went on and on and on until the crazy morning, basically, when we are off our minds, you know. So that was a great night, yeah. And
Out,
that's yeah. Go ahead.
out, outside of Ibiza Underground, what would
Mm.
be your favorite spot to go to outside of Ibiza Underground?
Outside of underground, I mean, there is plenty of spaces. I mean, there is Amnesia. I like it a lot when I go there to always to see my favorite DJs, you know. And I know the place, I know the management, I know everybody knows me, so it's like really convenient to go there for me, you know. And I really enjoy it, you know. So I mean, last time I was there, it was a night with the Ricardo Villalobos and Mar Daniel and Sonia Munir. These are all my buddies, so it's like I go there and hang out with them in the booth and having a really crazy time. Also, that's another crazy time actually. It's crazy night. I have to remember. Yeah, it will go always
And
crazy with those people.
I'm not going to try to get you in trouble with this next question,
Okay,
but
go ahead.
what is the best restaurant in Ibiza?
Well, depends on how. Oh my god. Depends on what level you're talking about. Are you talking about the level of the high quality and the high prices, or the best restaurant for me that I can enjoy without going and pretending to be a posh. So
You know,
yeah, I
I,
would say I would say you have different you have a lot. Actually, I have to say Ibiza became a restaurant island. Really,
okay.
everybody opening restaurants here is like really full of nice restaurants, amazing foods, and let's say we have very high quality restaurants like Yondal, which I'm not living so far away from.
Mhm.
Is Yondal is like a 3-star Michelin or 2-star Michelin star, you know, star, but very pricey. So not
Mm,
everybody can afford to go there. And then we have some lot of lovely places you know, Can Balafia in restaurants up north, which is a hippie area, which is like you go there and they only concentrate about the best meats and the best the tomato salads and you know, very Spanish, very fresh everything. And this can be amazing actually in a beautiful garden terrace, you know. It's like, so there is plenty of places. Yeah, depends on what I said.
I'm a bit of a foodie. If you go to the
Yeah,
DJ
me
Sessions
too.
TikTok right now,
Okay.
you'll pretty much only see food videos that I've made because
Ah,
I haven't dived into TikTok yet. I like cooking. I like putting together. My
yeah.
girlfriend, she's a phenomenal cook as well. I love
Mm,
everything she makes me to eat. And so having that aspect, we're both foodies.
yeah,
I would go from anything from the street vendor. If I could find like good ceviche that's made right there, fresh
exactly,
daily, boom,
exactly.
give me that ceviche right there. I don't need the posh
No, no, no,
high
no.
star Michelin, although I do love them. They are great. But
Yeah, I
you
know
know,
what I mean. I'm the same. I mean, it's, for me, it's really I appreciate food, good food. You know what I mean. I don't care if it's on the street. I mean, if it's well done, it's properly prepared
mhm,
and presented. That's already. And I did it in Tulum. I went to this taco place on the street, which was actually a very cheap place. I could have eaten 100 tacos for nothing. And it was just impressed me a lot how they did it, how they prepared everything. It was like, wow, that was blow my mind.
absolutely. It's.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
in Mexico last year as well, and it was just fresh
Mm.
ceviche, right,
Yeah,
prepared right
ceviche.
there
I
for
love
you. And
ceviche.
I love
Yeah,
ceviche. Ah, I
yeah,
love
me too.
ceviche.
I came back. I started to do ceviche at home myself. I
Yeah,
was like watching them every time how they doing it. It's like okay, like I need to do this. I cannot just go every night to a restaurant or every second night to a restaurant. It's like
yeah,
I need to do this at home. It's like I need to do
absolutely.
ceviche.
And I
Yeah,
know you live in like the kind of number one destination spot for nightclubs
yeah.
and restaurants. What is your where is not excuse me? What is your favorite city to play in?
I mean, it's very difficult to say favorite. I mean, there is many favorites. You know what I mean? Because it's everywhere you go, you have some experiences. I mean,
Mhm.
some nice experiences. Let's say between always from Bucharest, Romania, because I really got integrated to that scene there. You know what I mean? To the Romanian scene. From there to London to I mean, to Barcelona. I mean, it's a different experience every time. But I mean, mostly I would say I'm mostly popular maybe in Bucharest and London, something like that. You know, and give me the pleasure and the joy to play there because people, apparently they love me to come there. So,
And
you know.
do you get time to explore the cultures of these countries when you get to go there, these cities? Or is it kind of an in and out kind of process?
Mostly it's in and out because of this time frame of the fly in the same day of the party, rest a little bit, and then next day, or if I'm lucky, maybe I have one night was cheaper the second day, so you stay one more day, or you have to go somewhere else. But yeah, it's not always so much time to explore. But I managed to always have the second day of going around a little bit, see a little bit of sightseeing before I go to airport. You know what I mean? Just to
Mhm.
it depends on the promoter as well. If he wants to, if he's fresh enough to give you a little tour of the city or not. You know what I mean? And I'm never gonna put that on them like that. No pressure. You know, so just but it's nice. I mean, I was always lucky with Tokyo, for example. Tokyo, I had to go always few days, could not go so far away for so it was always 3 days, 4 days, and it happened many times to go around and see the city, Tokyo, beautiful, all these type of places like all Australia or New Zealand or those places. Because I go more days, I happen to see a bit more. But European cities, yeah, it's mostly in and out. Is
Mhm.
that
Gonna take another question from a viewer here. Just
yeah?
came in. I think this is really fitting to. Oh, come on. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I hope I say this right. It's WS Denate. I hope I said that right. Did you ever visit a far country where you were surprised people actually knew all your music?
Yes. Yeah, I have this feeling. I've been now. The last tour I was in South America was and there were some DJs there, like young DJs coming to me, like mentioning some of my last previous releases from years ago. And I'm very bad with names. I have this memory loss. Apparently, it's like I don't remember some of my own tracks' names. Because I had so many, so many releases on everywhere. So it's like, and they were trying to tell me this track, and I was like, wow, I just don't. So they had to find it on the mobile phone, on the YouTube. So like, this one, I mean this one. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, shit. So yeah, it was. It always surprised me, of course. Like somebody knows my stuff. Somebody knows my tracks. I mean, I get blushed. So it's like great. That's
And
that's nice.
you also have a couple other things you do in aside from DJing. You run something called Ibiza Global Radio. Is that correct?
No, I am.
Or
Ibiza
you,
Global Radio is a radio show.
it's a radio show. Okay.
Actually it's a radio station. It's a radio
Oh,
station in
okay.
Ibiza since many years, even before I came here.
Oh, okay.
And they grow and they became a very actually one of the main radio stations transmitting from Ibiza, and I'm part of that since many years as a guest. But now since 2 years, I got my own show there every Monday. So I
Hmm.
have my label show, which is called NG Tracks Radio Show on Ibiza Global Radio. So this is how
What
it
a,
right.
what a great segue into tell us about NG Tracks.
Oh yeah, so yeah, NG Tracks. I started NG Tracks because I was running a label before called Welt Recordings. I started in '99, and I had a lot of releases on that. It was like a end of '90s label, and I came to Ibiza, and I continued that with my partner, with my wife now, and we kind of got stuck into it, just like didn't know where to go with it, and I had tried everything and released a lot of nice artists, and I wanted to change. Also, the music changed. Also, my mentality of the music changed a little bit. So I started in 2015, 14. Around there, I wanted to do a kind of new project. A new project was okay. A new label. Let's do a new label. So it came up with NG Tracks because it's my Nemo Gorgi Tracks. Basically, it was simple as that. And I wanted to release only my own stuff, and I realized within one or two releases, like the first release, it was great. And then I had so many people loved it, and the artists were coming up to me and said, is a new label, can I send you some demos? I was like, I couldn't stop myself saying, no, it's just only my music or my labels, so I was just like, it happened to be Archie Hamilton. He sent me a tracks, and it's like, do you mind listen to this if you want to release it? And that time Archie was not, let's say, as big as now, and I said, "Wow, this is great tracks. I mean, I should do it, And I did. Actually, the second release of the label was Archie Hamilton.
Nice.
That went viral suddenly big time with all the RPR guys, and Raresh play that track a lot in the Sonar Festival in Barcelona that year. And somehow Archie got his name out of that, from there. Grow. I mean, he's a great artist anyway, so he bound to be who he is today. But I'm happy NG Tracks could also kind of push a little bit for him, and it's the rest is history. I mean, every other releases, and so many great artists on this label now since 2014.
Well, I just did a quick head count. It looks like you got about 20 or so artists on the label, and you also handle bookings. So it's also a booking agency as well. Do you handle booking agencies for all the artists you represent, or just specific artists?
No, it's just the ones that want to be part of it. It's not it's non-exclusive totally. It's just to have this service. If there is some promoters around the world, they ask me or they ask us on the website, how can we book this DJ? I mean, we can do that for you. You know what I mean? So it's a non-exclusive thing. Each of them, they have their own agent. I mean, they are part of other agencies and stuff. But this is kind of a new thing. I wanted to start, kind of upgrade the label in a way, and put it to the next level. I'm still working on it actually to make it more serious.
It's funny you mentioned that non-exclusivity, because that's one of the missions of the DJ sessions as well. We have our own internal resident DJs. Some of them are producers, some of them are just DJs, but they can contact us for booking, but I usually it's a non-exclusive, but we're looking to always add to that roster, and we'd like to build that roster up and more. And something else we're getting ready to do here, it's scheduled to launch Q1 next year, 2023. We're launching the DJ Sessions label as well.
Oh, great.
We're super excited for that. That's going to be a whole nother avenue that we're going down. We're partnering with some really great people there. Have some really great partnerships. So I'm kind of excited to go down that process. I've never done that before. And our whole thing is, what sound are we going for? What are we going to represent as are we going to take everything and go happy hardcore to drum and bass to house to trance? And what do we produce, and what do we want to become known for? How are we going to have a game plan and say, okay, the first, 6 tracks that come out are going to be deep house, or, or they're going to be trance. And so how do you decide the direction that NG Tracks is going to go? What is there this is all we produce, and please don't submit us this other stuff. Listen to it.
No. I mean, it's a good question, because that's why also I'm having a break actually since last year with NG Tracks, because it's healthy for a label. I don't think it's so good to constantly releasing something just to have those content to come out, to release those, because at some point you're going to lose the kind of the quality, you know what I mean? And you step into some quantity kind of areas, and it's better to clear your heads and come back again with a fresh way of doing it, So, and again, how do you decide to what kind of type of music? This is also another good question, because I love all kind of type of music, all type of music, but somehow the label got some form of direction now, which is like more this minimal micro house style of music.
Mhm.
So, but what if I suddenly release a breakbeat track? I mean, people will get disappointed or not. I don't know. I mean, that's it. But depends of the quality of the track as well, you know. So
Mhm.
that's why it's good to have this break and then maybe come back in a fresh way and maybe introduce a newer, updated NG tracks, you know, and for
Well,
any other labels, you know.
you know, like I think you said it best. It's one thing to
Mm,
just put out tracks and regurgitate and
mm,
keep putting stuff out,
yeah.
but sometimes you have to put some marketing and promo behind these tracks. And unless you
Mm,
have,
yes.
unlimited financial budget,
Yeah.
depending
Absolutely.
on what you're gonna put, if it's like, oh, I'm gonna put $100 behind this, or I'm gonna put $1,000, or I'm gonna put $10,000
Yeah.
behind this and
Absolutely.
push it, that I think
Yeah.
would be a limitation as well. So I think
Yeah.
we're looking at probably doing at least one track. The mantra that I hear is one track every 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm,
Something that is kind of a nice rollout, stay in front of people.
yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it'll be less than that. Maybe it'll be one every 2 months. I don't know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's tough to get my
Absolutely.
production team on board. And then
Mm,
again,
mm,
we want to produce internally, but we would be open to taking submissions from other artists and signing them,
yeah.
but we want to make sure that we're strong enough that if we're taking those tracks on, we're able to
Sure.
push them as well.
Sure, that's the
You
thing also, you know,
know,
to every each of them deserve a good push to be seen, to be heard, to come out. But yeah, of course, it's also depends on your budget of promotion. I
mhm,
mean, I did it very underground. Let's say this way. I didn't do so much advertising on them or so much. You know, I just did it through my socials and stuff like that.
mhm,
I did a couple of times with some promotion PR companies. I mean, we had a good result, definitely, but it's just the money that you pay for those PR stunt is way over what you make back. Anyhow, you know
mhm,
what I mean. And for me, the label is not so much about making business, and it's of course it has to run. It has to, you know, it doesn't. I don't need extra cost in my life. You know what I mean, but it has to go to break even at some point or even a bit more, but I'm not looking for making a big business with the label, you know what I mean. It's a kind of a, it's my playground, let's say this way, you know. And I like the music I like, I will release it, and I play music I play. That's why tracks is my tracks, you know. It's like even is your track I put out is my track because I like, because I like it, you know, and I play it. So
and
yeah.
that brings me right into one of my next questions.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes make music completely out of your own genre that never gets released?
Well, I did a couple of ambient stuff. I just didn't really. I just did it for myself. I was bored of doing the same thing, you know. Like I just had to like let's play a little bit with this modular system in this the virtual modular system, you know, just to try out things. And yeah, but it is rarely. I mean, let's say I'm more focused about what I'm doing with the remixes and I'm doing with the releases and stuff like that. So which is like I focus on my sound and my
Mhm.
kind of minimal sound thing. Yeah,
I'm a huge down tempo ambient fan. I listen to
yeah,
and have been listening to for years
mm,
Soma FM, Groove Salad out of
yeah,
San Francisco for years.
mm,
Always give a shout out to Randy, Rusty, and the team
yeah,
out
yeah.
there. Been listening
Nice.
since like 2003.
Mm,
Just love down tempo ambient. I feel it is that perfect summertime. Come out of the cabana wearing your linen, your white linen, you're on the beach and you either have a nice mojito or
yeah,
margarita or,
yeah, nice.
martini in your hand, getting ready to go out
Mm,
clubbing for the night in Ibiza.
mm. Yeah, 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 yeah.
or on
It
the
sounds
beaches
like
or on the beaches of Tahiti or somewhere.
it sounds like here. Sounds like here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but
do you have any secret aliases under which you release music? Any
uh, no, not really actually. I'm uh, I'm pretty much always Nimagorji, and I don't remember actually any time. I mean, before I came to Ibiza, yeah, I was in Copenhagen. When I started my label, Veld Recordings. Veld was started with me and my partner Thomas. We did our name was Black Powder.
Okay.
So that's the only time I remember I had aliases. And Black Powder at that time it became quite known because Danny Tenaglia started to play one of our releases, and he put it on his Back to Basics CD compilation and everything.
Nice.
So I achieved a little bit with that, like Black Powder. But since I came to Ibiza, I started to use my own name.
Hmm.
As for it, because I was a single guy without a partner suddenly. So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You bring up Danny. It was just yesterday. I was in another interview and I was talking about
Oh,
my
nice.
first CD that I ever bought.
Yeah.
That was it was an electronic music CD or DJ mix, and
Uh-huh.
it was a Paul Oakenfold's Global Underground
Yeah.
007. And I was hooked after that. I bought Sasha's, I bought Danny's, I bought Digweed's.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I remember
you
those
know,
ones. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there were just like so many
It was a
classics
yes, it is.
on
It
those.
was. It was actually when you look back now, it's really they just set the standard of the DJing and sessions basically.
Absolutely.
I
And
think so.
what do you feel distinguishes a DJ from a producer?
What distinguishes between DJing and
Yeah,
producing?
the differences
Ah,
between is there a difference
yeah.
between a DJ and a producer? If there is, what is that distinguishes the difference between the two?
I mean, I always had this thing to say about. I mean, just because you're a very good producer and maybe you do a live session and you play, doesn't mean you can be a good DJ. You know what I mean? Because DJing is something that you should. It has to come from your. It's you're almost born with it, or it's in your blood. You know what I mean? Because I mean, for me, it was very obvious because I started as DJ only. I mean, before that, I was doing not really producing. I was just doing some beats or doing some playing pianos or synthesizer I had, and it was not, you know, DJing for me was the main thing because I learned to DJ and I was so focused on that. And after actually coming into role of DJ, I started to be suddenly, wow, okay, let's see how it is to produce now. You know what I mean? To go and produce some music or a piece of track. And it's absolutely different because you are just now in the studio and just doing, computers and your analog gears and sitting there and has no connection with people. And so it's two different approach. And I many times I saw a lot of live, for example, producers um, trying to be a DJ as well, and it's not easy for them. You know, it's because they are not used to this. I'm used to, or many other like us DJs, DJ. I mean, they are used to communicate with people. You know, play for people and be in the almost be there as if you're in the dance floor.
Hmm.
You understand what I mean? So.
Hmm.
So this is yeah, it's a two different worlds somehow for me. Yeah.
What would be one of the most inspirational things that came across you in your life that started you on this pathway of getting into music production and or DJing?
I mean, for how did tell me again the question because I'm
So
getting
basically,
distracted by
that's okay. And your
yeah, yeah,
phone's ringing. And so,
yeah. It's my
what
background is
is there one real life situation that inspired
yeah.
you when it came to getting into the business of making music and or playing music for others?
Oh, it's many years ago. I mean, this was back in Copenhagen when I was living there, and I started. It was around that time I started my label, and I was DJing a lot, and started to do the label producing with my friend. I started the club as well, a Wednesday club every Wednesday for 4 or 5 years, very successful. So I was really that was the breaking point for me to that's my life. This is it. I just knew I'm not gonna do anything else in my life, because I already then at that time I was doing it for 10 years, and it's just like continued. And then after the club, we closed the club. I moved to Ibiza, and that was the breaking point for me. Yeah, let's say around end of '90s or around 2000, basically. And
And then
yeah.
and a follow-up question to that, I'm going to take this from a viewer
Mm,
actually.
mm.
WS Denate, I think we've gotten a couple from them tonight or today. What has been your best business decision in favor of your artist career?
Oh, that's a big question about business. I'm not a very good businessman. That's a very bad. I mean, business. I wouldn't put it into business, because for me, music was always passion. So it was. Of course, you want to, of course, make money. You want to make you. I want to live out of it, and I managed to do it. I managed to live out of it, but it was mainly because of my passion for music, because I never did anything else in my life. And the best business decision was for me to move to Ibiza, absolutely, because it was, it put my profile, let's say, more international, more worldwide.
Mhm.
Which in Denmark I was like pretty much a kind of a Scandinavian, well-known artist.
Mhm.
And yeah, that if you can put that in a decision of business, yeah, I can say move to somewhere that you think it would help you actually
Mhm.
to get you grow. Like,
Well, you mentioned that you weren't good at doing business, but the best business
mm,
decision you made was moving to Ibiza. And now
yeah.
I remember an interview I was doing years ago. I mean, this is probably
Mm.
15 plus years ago with an artist by the name, you might know him, Paulo Mojo.
Paulo Mojo, yeah, I've heard about the Paulo
Yeah,
Mojo.
long. I mean, I don't know if he's still doing stuff. I haven't talked with him in a long time, but I was
Yeah.
interviewing him, and he said, "You know what? The one thing that I
I've heard
learned,
about his name.
he started a label, and he tried
Mm-hmm.
running his own label, and he said he ran the label into the ground
Uh-huh.
because he was trying to be a DJ, trying to be a producer, and trying to run a label. He said
Yes.
the best business decision I ever made was to remove myself from running the label and hire somebody to run the label for me."
That's amazing, and that I thought about it so many times, because that's also one of the reason I could not focus on, as I started a new party event, and I could not focus on the label and the event and my DJing, and it's a bit, you can if you want to, but if but it's just, I need that all the time I can have just to think about the event, and just think
Yeah.
about how we can promote it, or who I'm going to book as a guest DJ, and what kind of artwork we're going to have, and search for those entities and people to help you out, do things you want to do. At the same time, I cannot think about the label as well, and the same things about the artwork, about the artist I have to have on the label. It's a bit of a, yeah, you have to really be a workaholic to manage to do all of it together.
Uh,
So
I have burnt myself out probably
yeah,
three
and you burn
times over the
yourself out.
last few years, over the last
Yeah,
13, 14 years, burned myself out because I
yeah,
was taking on too much. And
yeah.
if it wasn't for my to-do lists and making sure that when I have a thought, I put it on the to-do list and I pull it off, but I make sure I
Mm,
accomplish that. I actually am going to write a
yes.
coffee table book one of these days. It's all my past to-do lists over the years. I save them all. And
Nice.
to say, this is what it takes to run a company. This is what it takes to do all this. And I might
Yeah.
have a keyword that I write down, which might say, oh, I got to interview with Nima,
Mm,
interview Nima. But I also might have a keyword that says, call the bank or bank.
yeah.
To
Yeah.
me, that means something,
Mm,
but that might be a $50,000 investment loan or something. I'm going, it might be a huge, huge thing, or contact this
yeah.
nightclub or set up, all those things on the to-do list that people I don't think understands
Yeah.
what it goes when you're trying to create an international global brand. They
Yeah.
think I was just some guy that Oh, I set up a Zoom interview and a restream, and I hit the button, and here we go. We're talking with Nima right now, and it's that easy.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Yeah,
No, it
yeah.
doesn't work that way.
No,
And
no, no,
and
no.
but now the partnerships and the people that I'm talking to and being put in front of, I'm so honored, that
Yeah.
these people that they're like, okay, it looks like you have built your brand up. I was talking with a girl, Lauren, yesterday. She does a show called Rave It Up out of Australia, out of
Mm,
Sydney, and very parallel. She's way younger than I am, but very similar experiences of starting in high school at 16 years old. I
yeah.
started a little earlier than that, but even her trying to get her foot in the door, and everyone's like, who's this 16-year-old girl? I don't want to talk
Mm,
to a teenager. You have no reach. You have no pull. And it took her time working with the local radio stations to be put on assignments, and then meeting people inside the community, and then
yeah.
meeting other friends and family and networking through it. It just takes time to build. And,
Mm,
you only have so many hours in
absolutely.
the day. I,
Exactly.
I was just telling my girlfriend this just the other day. It's like, now that I have this pad, we did this huge push over the last few months. Now I have this pattern. I'm almost not even using my to-do list anymore, because
Mm,
everything's being funneled into my calendar now through my assistants that work for me, and
yeah.
that is my to-do list for the day. That I wake up and go, okay, now I'm on this pattern of
Yeah.
setting up, doing 2-3 interviews a day. Then we have our events on the weekend, and then
Yeah.
it's just
No, but
crazy running
it's
your
a
own
lot. It's a
business.
lot to see. I mean, it's a lot to do. For somebody like you. Yeah, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
So,
doing so many shows and performing so many shows around the world,
mm.
who's the most inspiring person that you've ever met backstage? And tell us why that person inspired you.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm fortunate to know a few of them, and my heroes basically that I get inspired from is like I mentioned before, Ricardo Villalobos is one of them. Definitely, is one of my big inspiration as an artist, as a even as a showman or as a person. It's a kind of a and I mean, I've been a lot occasionally with him in different locations or mostly in Ibiza because we see each other always here in parties, in barbecues, in different private occasions and stuff like that. And there is many of them. I mean, there is Luciano as well. Is very inspiring for me, and I've been meeting with him pretty much every time I see him in any clubs. I've been hanging out with them in the DJ booth. So I mean, these are my my kind of older inspirations, which I started to follow many years ago.
Mhm.
And but many others. Don Aquaviva is a very good friend of mine. We hang out for dinners and lunches and stuff like that. I mean, he's been one of my old heroes also from that time. So I talk a lot with those people, and
Mhm.
inspiring as well in many ways because I mean either we do music together or we don't do music together. Then we are talking about the generally the sound production, records, or the world. I mean, what's going on with our situations. So that's quite inspiring. Everything.
Awesome.
I don't
And,
know. I might forget many others, but I mean, I can. Yeah.
and how important? I noticed that you have on the NG Tracks website, you have the store where you
Yeah.
can buy, you know, digital vinyl, um, you know, vinyl. How important do you think it is to have merchandise available, um, in the such of like t-shirts, logos, branding? Is that something
Yeah.
that you think is important for a brand or label artist to
Well,
have?
I would say I think it's I mean it's not the most important thing maybe, but it is useful, and so it happens many times also if it comes out very nice and good design or something about a t-shirt or a hat or whatever. I mean it made actually go up in let's say it become more attractive. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it is useful. Yeah, I would say definitely if you can afford to do some merchandising about your whatever you do label or club or event or whatever, it's always useful to have something. I mean, I'm thinking about actually to do some T-shirts or something for my events, in Ibiza,
Yeah.
just to, because the name spreads around, That's how I see it. Even you just do stickers and you put it on different places in town somewhere, and people, I see a lot of stickers everywhere. I say, what is this? I see it all the time, There is one particular logo.
And
So
and
yeah,
that definitely the stickers. I'm glad you mentioned that because it kind of helps me segue into my next question.
okay.
What are your thoughts on NFTs?
Oh, I think NFTs were interesting. I did one, and I released it with Pianity, which is a French-based NFT for music, and it went well. I mean, let's say it got sold out, and but I didn't follow up on that anymore. I don't know. It's a lot of things going on in that space, because I mean, if you follow with a little bit of the crypto and yeah, the crypto industry. I mean, it's a lot of good things and bad things that's going on there. So it's a lot of ups and downs. Since few months now, everything is pretty much down. So it really kind of collapsed in many ways. So I didn't follow up so much with NFTs because I didn't suddenly have time for NFTs. But it is an interesting, of course, it's interesting element in our space, I think.
Yeah, one of the things that we're looking to do with all the content that we produce, and it's a little
Yeah.
difficult because I believe in NFT world, do not come at me if I'm wrong about this.
Mm-hmm.
I heard balancing opinions, and I'm working with a person to help me develop this. Is that we want to be able to NFT our interviews. This is our
Uh-huh.
artistic content. The problem
Okay.
is some of our interviews and even exclusive mixes. Well, we probably won't do exclusive mixes right away, but the
Yeah.
interviews, of course. Is they can be a gigabyte in size.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't really compress it down to, my buddy has worked on a great algorithm though, that we've taken a 700 megabit file and got it down almost lossless down to about 168 megabytes.
Oh
But
yeah.
even that is still a
Are you
big
losing the
file size.
quality
I
or
don't
not?
know what we're gonna use yet.
No.
We're still trying to figure out the compression to get our
Yeah.
episodes down so we fit and we can not have to do snippets of the interview as NFTs.
No.
And then we could say, "Hey, Nima, guess what?
Mm.
We're gifting you an NFT of this episode." Like think of it like the bottle of wine or the fruit
Yes.
basket at the end of the show. "Hey, thank you
Yeah.
very much for coming on the show. Tie your wallet into this, and boom, and then
Yeah.
we only make a limited edition of them, like maybe
Yeah.
10 or 20, and we put
Yeah.
them up on our stores, and collectors that are fans of those people can say, "Hey, guess what? I just got this NFT done," and and that fan can
Yeah.
then buy
There's a brilliant idea. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great idea.
it. Would be really
It's a great
awesome. And
idea. Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to have an interview coming up with the world's first NFT record label. That's on the books. I can't remember who that's with because it's not on the books yet, but Luke
Uh-huh.
will be working and getting that for me here soon. And super excited
All
to talk
right.
about that
Yeah.
because that'll be interesting to see how, people collect music, and do they just hold on to that and say, "I own this track?" Because once you transfer it, you don't own that
Yeah.
track anymore,
No.
you know? So do
No.
you maybe get it? Is the thought, okay, I get an NFT collectible version of this, but I also get a download of the track. So if I do sell off the NFT, at least I can still listen to the music. I just don't own that collectible
Yeah.
NFT anymore of it. It's going to be interesting on how it all works out. And
Yeah. How it works out. Yeah. I mean, I would guess maybe the NFT that will pretty much be. How do I say it? Not survive, but I mean, because there is many opinions about NFTs, because there's all these picture NFTs. That's like one apes on one dude. I mean, I don't know. Maybe one day they're gonna just be worthless in many ways. But one thing definitely I think gonna survive in NFT space, it would be the music and the arts. I
yeah,
mean, the art that you can actually use it. For, it's a useful art. Um, in music NFTs definitely gonna pick up to and go to the next level in a way. So that's my opinion. I think.
which follows me when we're talking about this virtual space. These are
Yeah.
two of my questions I usually always ask. with the NFTs, and the follow up is, have you done anything in virtual reality yet?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No, I have this conversation because we know we're on
Yeah,
the precipice of VR and AR coming
yeah,
out.
yeah.
We just recently soft launched two of our nightclubs in alt space. So we have, it's called Beta and Entry, and we plan to develop this out in other places. We're super excited for it because
Okay.
I look at it now as VR being the kind of space in 1995 when people said, you know, I don't need a website. Everything I do is in physical world. This website thing, it's going to be a fad. Like, I don't need a website. Or
Yeah, yeah,
set the clock forward and say, oh, I don't need a website. I have a MySpace. And then set it
yeah.
forward a little bit more, and there's Facebook, and I got a Facebook page and a MySpace page, but
Mm,
that MySpace goes away.
yeah.
You're stuck with a Facebook page, and then you got Instagram. So you got the social, you had the website,
Mm,
then you had the social media, and now you have this opportunity to brand yourself in a different kind of unique way that people can still come back to in virtual reality and augmented reality. Once Apple
mhm.
released their glasses, I'm sure Google has something.
Yeah, they're coming up
Meta
with
has
one.
project.
Yeah,
They have a big project they're looking to launch
yeah.
as well. I think it's going to revolutionize the way we kind of go and see a physical show, even putting the AR glasses on, where I could be at
Definitely,
an
yeah.
event and I could look up the ceiling, and the ceiling might just be a big black ceiling. But when I put the
Mm,
glasses on, I'm now seeing the universe, or I could
yeah.
change
You change it,
the
yeah. You can
change
change
it
it. It's a
around.
well, it's a basically I mean virtual reality or I think this is what metaverse wants to do. You know, basically the whole metaverse question is this. I think it's becoming more and more obvious that we are going that way. I mean, I don't particularly like the idea. I mean, to go into this virtual world. I mean, so much, but it is interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mind try it,
Yeah, the
but
one thing.
I would like to still keep my normal life. You know,
Yeah, no, I don't think, like a lot of people say, I don't think it's
but
going to replace real world
no,
environments. I mean, just I was at a baseball game last night, and
yeah,
no matter what, if they set up 3D cameras all over the stadium and I put my things on, I could walk around the state, quote unquote, walk around the stadium and watch the game like I was sitting in a seat there at the
uh-huh.
stadium and feel that. There's nothing like having the sunshine shine on you,
Yeah,
overlooking all of downtown Seattle. And even
yeah,
at one point, I saw that the sun was setting and looked so beautiful with the oranges and the blues and the into the
yeah,
black and
yeah,
the purple. I grabbed my girlfriend and said, "Come on, let's go up to the high level where we're sitting and look at what this looks like out over the city." And you can get
yeah.
experiences in virtual
Of
reality, but
course,
not real world experiences. But my take
no,
is going to be when they start using augmented reality
yeah,
in live performance.
yeah,
We're super excited for that because we do our silent concert events, and I can have multiple channels. And as you switch the channel, you go red channel, we could have a
hmm,
red stage, but then you switch to the blue channel, you hit another button, and it's going to switch to the blue stage setup, and it's going to be a completely different experience depending on what channel you're
yeah,
listening
yeah.
to. So merging technologies,
Great.
I always love doing stuff like that over
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. Of course, it's always interesting. I mean, I don't. I always love technology as well. I mean, it's not that I'm against technology at all, and I think we just have to use it for the benefits of it, you know. And which is but it's a lot of interesting stuff coming up. That's
Mhm.
absolutely for sure. Yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
If somebody were to write a biography about you, what do you
yeah.
think the title should be?
The title of the biography,
Hmm.
it should be. That's a difficult one. Yeah, I don't know. I never thought about myself that way. It's like, uh, yeah, he was born.
He was born. All right. The Neiman Gorgie story. Awesome. Well, is
Yeah.
there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know about before we let you get going?
What you need to what you need to do? What you need to know?
Oh, anything else you want
Oh,
to let our DJ Sessions fans know about? We talked about your
yeah,
label, your
yeah,
tracks, your
yeah.
join on the 23rd.
Yeah, join on 23rd. It's going to be my second party event this year, and I have Rich Next, Amir Java Soul from Montreal, um, Alex Font from Valencia, these are really talented people, actually. Amazing crew. It's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be my last one maybe in October, hopefully, because I took this year like very three parties just to do them properly, and so that's my focus right now is really about this event, and hopefully by October, November, I'm going to restart the label again. I'm looking for tracks now again for different friends and colleagues sending me stuff. So I'm going to restart the label as well. And yeah, there's a lot of winter activities coming up as well. There is a tour coming up as well in November for South America again. And I'm looking forward, yeah. For summer is mostly I'm here in Ibiza,
Hmm.
and try not to. I mean, although I have two gigs now, end of this month, I have Serbia, one in Belgrade, one in Istanbul, in Turkey, and but most of the time I'm here in
Hmm.
Ibiza. And
Awesome.
winter I get out. Yeah.
Where would be the best place for people to find out more information about you and what you have going on?
Mostly, I think it would be on my Instagram page because that's what we all are there, somehow. Instagram page, exactly, Nimagorji72. I have a link tree in that, which it's all my other socials are there from Facebook page and YouTube, SoundCloud, you name it. So I'm there everywhere. You have to spread around.
One thing I love doing when I'm
So
doing research on the
yeah,
guests that are coming on the show is going to their SoundCloud if they have a SoundCloud and
yeah,
listening to their latest mixes or their latest tracks.
yeah.
It just it sets me right in the mood. And like I said, I was listening to the one you did. It was a few months ago for Ibiza Global Radio.
Mhm.
It was April 22nd, about 4 months ago. The Minimal House one just really was awesome.
Yeah, great.
I got about 30 minutes into it, so but I'm gonna go back and list finish that
Yeah,
out.
that's great.
And Nima, thank you so
Thanks a
much for
lot.
coming on the DJ sessions today. I really
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Darren. Thank you. It was a
You're
pleasure to
welcome.
talk to you. And
And we'll be following up with you here in every 6 months. We'll be staying in touch with you. So right about when winter time hits, we'll be
okay,
coming right back from ADE, but we'll be reaching out to you and saying, Nima, what's going on?
okay, great. I will look forward to that. Thank you,
Awesome.
Darren.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
awesome. Thank you. Have a nice day there.
You as well.
Thank
On that
you.
note, don't forget to go to our website,
Yeah.
thedjsessions.com. Find us on Meta, find us on Twitter, find us on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok for those awesome cooking videos I do. But also, you can now find us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Google Play, and soon to be Apple TV. That's Nima Gorgi, and I'm Darren, coming to you from the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington. He's all the way over in Ibiza for the virtual sessions. And remember, on the DJ sessions, the music never stops.
Bye.